Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman Beyond action figure. This is the version with the exposed mouth, the exhaust for under his feet, and the red Batarang, not the Target exclusive Build-A-Figure wave. So I had this figure pre-ordered at Target.com, but they kept pushing it back, and pushing it back, and pushing it back, and then finally randomly canceling on me, saying I didn't approve the email to push it back, and there was no email sent. A buddy of mine, the Ombre in Black, told me it was in stock at Walmart.com, went ahead and ordered mine, and it arrived today. Walmart won, got my money on this one, Target lost. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, got the Spawn logo there, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Batman Beyond. Here he is in the package. Got some alternate hands, a non-show accurate Batarang, and some exhaust for under his feet. He also has a collector's cart and a flight stand. One side of the package, Batman Beyond. Other side, Batman Beyond. At the bottom, there's a bunch of credits and a barcode, in case that helps anybody. And in the back, here's a figure posed up flying through the city. And here's a bunch of other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures you should check out. So with no further ado, let's open them up. And I did end up getting two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman action figure collection. And here's this basic version of Batman Beyond, next to the Target exclusive Build-A-Figure version. Then, next to the older Mattel Multiverse Batman Beyond figure. Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. He does come with a flight stand, a collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, 2 exhaust flames for under his feet, and then a red Batarang. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's take a look at the actual figure. So here is the standard version of Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis from the animated show, although this version is probably from the comics. This is the version I prefer. You can actually see his mouth. The other one had a completely flat mouth there. Both are from the comics. He's got that red Batman Beyond logo on the chest. Looks great. It's sculpted, not just painted on. He's a sleeker body, as Terry McGinnis is a lot thinner and slimmer than Bruce Wayne. Got some spikes on the gauntlets, double jointed elbows. Belt looks fantastic. Thin legs, double jointed knees. And then, of course, he's got his red wings. You can see where his arm is going to sort of clip into there and hold them up. Now, the wings are not removable. I do believe you can heat them up and take them out. I'll probably try that in this video. But it's disappointing that you can't have them with the wings off in the Batcave and with the wings on in flight mode. This one here is specifically intended to be in flight mode. Comes with a flight stand and the exhaust for under his legs. I think this one looks great. I prefer this look to the Build-A-Figure version. And here he is, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Let's start with his display stand. His display stand, or flight stand, comes in 2 different pieces. It's transparent, has a DC logo at the bottom. And when you put his flight stand together, it looks like this. It's got a circle at the bottom of the DC logo, transparent going to the top, and then up here, it is hinged, and has a clamp here to hold your figure. Now let's look at his collector's card. Here's the figure posed up, flying through the city. As you can see, he's got the exhaust on his feet. He's gliding through. You can see the sky and the city buildings, Batman Beyond. Then on the back side, there's a little description of the figure. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. And here's this version of Batman Beyond's collector's card, next to the Build-A-Figures version. Now let's look at his hands. He's got a total of 4 of them. 2 have sort of his claws out, and 2 are standard. Here's his first pair of hands. These are his claw-like hands. He can use these for climbing or fighting. Then, with his standard hands, these are some gripping hands. These are the hands I'm going to prefer to use in this guy most of the time, as his claw-like hands should only be used in rare circumstances. Now let's look at his exhaust accessories. These are a couple of flames that will come out of the bottom of his feet. It's a great accessory to have for a flying figure. These are made of a transparent, sort of orange plastic. Looks good, gets a little more red as it gets toward the bottom. Very nicely done, very useful. Here's Terry utilizing both the flight stand and his exhaust pieces. And if you look at the flame accessories at the bottom of his feet, we've got one peg that will connect into the peg hole in the back, and then if you rotate around, you can see where the front part will line up with that hole there. Pretty nice job, McFarlane. And here are his exhaust accessories compared to some other exhaust accessories that I can use for my Batman figures. These came with this Batman Beyond, these came with a Justice League basic Batman figure, and these came with the Mezco Batman Beyond. All three of these fit into the peg holes on his feet and work fantastic. Now let's look at his Batarang. This is a red Batarang. It looks great. It looks like the Batman Beyond logo. I don't remember ever using a Batarang like this in the show. Maybe it did in the comics. A little bit annoying. If you want to have all the appropriate accessories, you do have to get both versions of the figure. Here's his Batarang. Next to the Batarangs that came with the Build-A-Figure version, those Batarangs are the screen-accurate kind. Like I said before, you have to get both figures to have all the accessories you'd want. McFarlane's pretty much forced you to double dip. Here he is holding and getting ready to throw the Batarang. And here he is holding the screen-accurate version of the Batarang. Here are all the different Batman Beyond style Batarangs that I have. These come from Kenner, Mezco, McFarlane, DC Direct, and Mattel. Now let's look at his wings. These are in the down position. These are permanently attached, which is frankly very annoying. They could have made them removable, which would have been excellent. They do have these little holes here where you'll be able to connect them to his wrists. They can fold up as far as this. And here they are outstretched, ready for flight. And like I said before, they have these little holes in the wings. You can take his arms, stretch them out. They've got sort of a little peg here that's going to clamp into there and hold the wings connected to his arms. And once you hook his arms to the wings, it'll look like this. Everything is attached pretty securely, has a very sturdy feel to it. So I went ahead and dipped him into some boiling water, heated up the figure, and popped the wings out. It was actually pretty easy. I wish McFarlane had made the wings removable. They could have done something to help us out. Now you've got this giant hole in his back, and it looks kind of bad. But I'm happy you can get the wings out, because it makes no sense for him to be hanging on the back cave with the wings on. Now that he has the wings off, he can sit at the back computer, sit in a chair. Looks pretty good. Here are all the different Batman Beyond wings I've accumulated over the years. They are all removable, except McFarlane. So between the two Batman Beyond releases, these are the accessories I would like to have my ideal version. I'd like the two screen-accurate Batarangs. I'd like the flame exhaust from his feet. I'd like the mouth here that you can see from the show. Of course, McFarlane's making you double dip, but imagine if it was NECA. They would make you double dip, and then later they would release an ultimate version, so you'd have to triple dip. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's sitting at about 6.9 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 17.5 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the ears, about 7.2 inches tall. Now let's look at his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down about that much, not too bad. He can't tilt his head from one side to the other, give him a nice amount of personality. Shoulders on a ball joint, it can go out considerably more than 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He does have a butterfly joint between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion here. Got a bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows below that. They go all the way in. His wrist here has a ball in it, can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. He's got a ball joint in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Another ball joint down here, can also rotate around, go forward and back, giving him a very nice range of motion in his torso. Legs, completely do splits, not a ball joint, but a similar type concept. They can go forward, about that far, back, about that much. As far as rotation goes, very minimal. Double jointed knees, go all the way back. Then his ankle here, it's got a ball in it, goes forward and back. It can rotate, it can tilt and rock as well, and he has toe articulation. Here's Terry in the Batcave with Old Man Bruce Wayne at the computer, Ace the Bat Hound next to them. They're looking up what criminal activities they need to stop tonight. And as soon as they've done enough research, Terry McGinnis gets suited up and heads out to the city streets. Here's Terry, flying through the rooftops of Gotham. He sees Kirari on a rooftop and decides to glide down after her. And here's Terry taking on Shriek. This custom Shriek is going to be a great substitute until McFarlane releases their version. Then, on the rooftop looking around, and he's got Spellbinder spying on him in the background. And here he is taking on some of the Joker's gang from Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker. We've got Chucko, Dee Dee, Ghoul, Bonk, and Wolf. Now let's check them out next to some other action figures, starting off with some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here are both versions of McFarlane's Batman Beyond. They are 100% the same figure except for the head and the accessories. Which version do you guys prefer? I personally prefer this version. We can see the mouth. It's much more show accurate, although I believe both these are based off the comics. It's nice to have a little option for two different heads though. Now this is most certainly not the first time McFarlane has released a non-Bruce Wayne Batman figure. We've got Jean-Paul Valley in the bat armor, Terry McGinnis in the bat suit, and Thomas Wayne. Here are all the Batman supporting characters and allies McFarlane has made so far. I'm really hoping we get Red Robin and Batwoman next. And here he is, next to all the different versions of Bruce Wayne as Batman that McFarlane has made so far. And here he is with my entire McFarlane DC Multiverse collection, including all the variants. I've got a total of 72 different figures and 2 vehicles. Still looking for the Silver Platinum Chase Gorilla Grodd, and now people are starting to find the Darkfather wave. Then I'll be fully caught up. And then just a little more of an aerial shot of the entire collection, in case you missed anything. Now let's check him out, next to some other Batman Beyond figures. Here he is, next to the other version of the McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman Beyond. And here, next to a DC Direct Batman Beyond figure. Then, next to the Mezco Batman Beyond. And here, next to all of my Mattel Batman Beyond figures. And here are all of my Batman Beyond figures. I believe I have all the 6 and 7 inch scale Batman Beyond figures except for the DC Direct, Superman, Batman Beyond. I would like to track him down one day. Here he is next to a custom Terry McGinnis and Max Gibson in civilian attire. Very pleased to have these two. Then, next to a DC Direct, Old Man Bruce Wayne and Ace the Bat-Hound. You can't have Terry McGinnis without these two. Then, next to a few custom Batman Beyond rogues, we've got Kirari, Spellbinder, and Shriek. And here he is, next to the Joker's gang from Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. We've got Chucko, Bonk, Batman, Wolf, Dee Dee, and Ghoul. Now, next to the Kenner version of the Batman Beyond Batmobile. He kind of meets the theme of these Blade Runner figures from NECA, and also the Cyberpunk figures from McFarlane. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, he's the 7 inch scale. I'll start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here he is, next to some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7 inch scale. And here, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here, with some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mafex figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a fantastic figure. I prefer this head to the Build-A-Figure version. This guy's accessories are great, but it'd be nice if he came with the Batarangs. His articulation is also fantastic. Everything you expect from a McFarlane figure, just could use a little improvement on the thigh swivel. His sculpt, his paint job, they're excellent. Mine just has a little scuff on one of the shoulders, not a big deal. If I were to rate this guy, I'd give him a very solid 8.5 out of 10. This is a very good standard looking Batman Beyond figure if you want to use him for the cartoon or the comic. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.